Did you know that 80% of employees are feeling stress and low trust associated with the fast pace of change, with all of the changes that are occurring around us, whether they be environmental, societal, or employment related, and those associated with AI adoption and job reductions? These changes take a huge toll on us personally, as leaders, as individuals, and it's hard for us to pause enough to think about the human side of change. So today my hope is to share some reflections as a way to see change as part of the human dynamic and how we consider enlisting the minds, the heart, and the hands in this process and connect with those around us in a deeper level. Welcome to The Rooted Leader. Hi, I'm Kathleen Wise-Mandel. I'm a scientist, leader for over 20 years, and now a leadership coach. I know that most leaders are busy delivering work, so I created the short leadership minisodes that meet busy leaders where they are, offering insight, reflection, and questions that support growth in the flow of your work. Thank you for joining. You may ask, what qualifies as change? And from the perspective of a leader and a change practitioner, I'm typically oriented around the changes that involve organizational structure or processes, but they could include things such as a new boss or a new leader, or maybe your own job change. It could be as big as a career shift or transition, and even as small as a process or system change, or having to return to office. As a leader in the pharmaceutical industry for over 25 years, I've certainly seen many iterations of change, whether it be strategic vision changes, technology, systems, and process changes. So I decided to go back to school to learn about change management. As a scientific leader, I just didn't have the right language or framework to understand how best to support my teams. I wanted to understand how I could help my teams manage through the human side of change while still being expected to deliver on the work they cared about so much. This is a really big topic to boil down in under 15 minutes, but I want to be respectful of your time. There are actually two different aspects of change management. And the first is when consulting companies come in and create a new structure and new operating system for companies. The change we're going to talk about today is actually managing and leading others through change. I like to think of it as the human side of change that is not always considered when designing the organizational and process structures, but it's the way people move through and become part of that change. And it's really important, and it typically lands on the leader. The examples I'll give today are leader-employee examples and how you can lead your teams through change. But this could also apply for how your stakeholders or your colleagues may manage change. It could also be a way for navigating your own emotions and processing of change, even things that are personal. I can reflect on some of these changes I'm having as an empty nester. So keep that in mind when we're talking today. A book that had the biggest impact on me was called Managing Transitions, Making the Most of Change by William Bridges and Susan Bridges. It's definitely my most used book. Its cover is peeling back, its pages are worn and dog-eared. I love it because it focuses on the human transitions we face with change, but we often don't talk about, and frankly, we often don't plan for, and the opportunity to not lose people in the process. To begin with, it's always important to understand what problem are we solving for. We want to engage the minds of people on why are we making this change and why is it important for the organization and why now. It's also really important to understand what's not changing. The transition for employees can be different, and it can persist long after a change is implemented, and everyone experiences change differently. So the three phases of change that humans go through include endings, the neutral zone, and new beginnings. And as you can imagine, that first stage called endings is a time when we're letting go of what was. And it can be hard. It's a process that can include anger and denial and maybe some sadness for what used to be. We might be letting go of old traditions, beloved leader, or other things that might be at risk for how we exist in our daily lives. And at this time, not only morale drops, but so does productivity. An example I have from a client is that the people in the organization had different perspectives. Some who had worked long careers were offered early retirement and they were ecstatic. Others were feeling lost. They had new leaders they didn't know, and there was a period of adjustment in understanding what's next for them. Even from the beginning of the ending stage, already people had different experiences of what was happening. Then we enter the neutral zone, and this can last for a while. It's a zone of confusion, frustration, skepticism, and it's a time when our productivity drops to the lowest. People will experience this neutral zone differently. Some may go through it very quickly, others may linger in this stage. And one thing we can do as leaders is have one-on-one conversations with our employees to see how they're handling this change. Some questions that go through minds during this neutral zone is, while the old is gone, what does the new future offer? This could be still very fuzzy. It can lead to disengagement. The neutral zone offers a chance for employees to be part of a new dialogue or co-creation of new processes. This is an opportunity to engage employees. This is not a comfortable stage. We want to approach the neutral zone with empathy and compassion, because the neutral zone is the key point where quiet quitting and disengagement happen. During this time, I would have one-on-one conversations with each of my employees to understand where they were during the change and how they were feeling. Not only was it a way to hold space for them, but it also gave me some insights on what was really happening at the day-to-day work. When we reach the state of new beginnings, this is where we want to engage the head, the heart, and the hands of our employees. We're empowering others and moving towards action, and that can be very engaging. We want to see the fog clear, and we want employees to see themselves in this new future. We'll start to feel excitement, we'll see energy, and more commitment. We can create small wins and acknowledge those wins to create more connection. After one change, we had a new global team, and we tried to create some new traditions that would bring the two global sides together. One of the teams had created a topic called Word on the Street. It was a beautiful way to start our meetings with pictures and celebrations of the personal lives of the team members, and it really helped us bond and start new traditions. A great leader through this process listens, understands, and hears the concerns. And while there might not be an opportunity to change the direction, creating that psychological safety to help people process is so important. The top tip I have for leaders leading through transition is to be as transparent as you can. And that might be different depending on the level of confidentiality required from HR and legal. But you can always ask and listen to your employees and hear their concerns. It's also okay to say what you don't know. Assess where you and your employees may be along the transition phases, and note that these can all be in different stages. If you're able to assess where you are, how might your experiences and emotions and commitment be different than your employees? It's important to see the change through the lens of multiple perspectives. The 3 takeaways. Most changes have the following 3 transition phases: endings, which is letting go of what was; the neutral zone, which is accompanied by confusion and skepticism; and new beginnings, which allow us to have excitement and commitment and start to emerge into the new. Each state impacts productivity differently, and everyone could be on that change curve at different stages. Responses to change are not always linear. A small tweak or a shift in any element of a change plan can have people reverting right back to that neutral zone of confusion or frustration. Now, time for some reflection questions. If you have a chance, please pause between questions and really reflect on how you've experienced change in the past. When was the time you experienced a change to a new process or a new leader? How did you initially respond? What questions did you have? What feelings of letting go of the past did you experience? How did you work through these? And how might this be different from someone on your team? The human side of change includes you as the leader. So be patient with yourself as you guide your teams the best that you can through the work and the change that's happening. In 2022, I covered the concept of transition and the change curve in Volume 1, Issue 3 of The Root, and I'll include the link below in the show notes. This will provide visual examples illustrating the transition zones as well as a change curve. Seeing the visuals will be really helpful to tie all of these things in together. And the change curve offers nice insight on what leaders can talk about and also what employees might be experiencing. Thank you for joining the Rooted Leader podcast. And if today's minisode sparked something for you, take a moment to reflect on the questions in the show notes. You'll find links and resources there as well. If you'd like to share a thought or a question for a future episode, you can email me at therootedleaderpodcast@gmail.com or reply directly on the Rooted Leader Substack. Please be sure to follow or subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Until next time, stay rooted in authenticity and empathy. Thank you.